Hi everybody. It's me, Juniper Oswald VT, and I'm here with Jade. Say hi, Jade. Literally doesn't say anything. Okay, and I'm here with...
Hey, I said hi.
Oh, it did not pick up at all.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I literally saw your mouth move, and then it just did not pick up at all.
I was like, hi, and then it just, my bad.
It's okay. And I'm also here with Karma. Say hi, Karma.
Hi.
He's the little Dear Daniel PNG in the corner, because he doesn't get a VTuber model.
Yeah.
Alright, so, as you read in the title, chat, we're reading terrible creepypasta stories because I said so. And also because I kept telling Jay we need to make a creepypasta podcast and she won't fucking do it with me. So, this is the next best thing. And Karma's here too. That's so fucked up. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so don't mind how I have this laid out. I literally have no other way of doing this other than how I have it right now. So yeah, you guys can read along with us. But I'm gonna be the narrator. Karma's gonna be a character, and Jade's gonna be a character. That's so exciting.
That's if we could do it properly.
You guys can. I don't see why not. We're fantastic readers, okay? We can read at a 6th grade level, so...
And no, we can't.
Okay. So...
We're in America.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying. That's why we read at a 6th grade level, and literally every other first world country can read at a 11th grade level. So, if that's any consultation. Alright. So... I have a list of creepypasta stories we're going to read, but the first one we're going to start off with is Cupcakes. This is like one of the first My Little Pony creepypastas, and it's the most infamous. Have either of you read Cupcakes or know of Cupcakes?
No.
Oh.
No.
No.
I don't. That one, Cupcake sounds familiar.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. So we're going to read Cupcakes. I think Jade's gonna be Rainbow Dash and Karma's gonna be Pinkie Pie, right? Is that what we agreed on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Smirk. Okay, I gotta get, like, my reading skills. I haven't read in, like, forever. I only read fanfiction, guys. I only read smut and terrible fucking audiobooks. So, yeah, Jade was literally reading, like, a, 200 chapter Eyeless Jack fanfiction on Wattpad. And then she lost it.
That out.
That's a bit freaky. Thank you, Karma. No, because it's funny. Okay, because you can actually find Eyeless Jack shit. I can't find any Laughing Jack stuff. So, speaking of Eyeless Jack, let me put that on the list. Because I have Laughing Jack on here, but I didn't put Eyeless Jack. Okay. Anyways. Okay, are we guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. This is gonna be like a lot of reading. On my end.
Yes.
So, I'm letting you guys go off easy. Okay. Here we go. The air was warm, the sun was shining, and all of Ponyville was having a glorious day. The town square was bustling and crowded. Busy ponies were making their busy way through the streets. All the pony folks seemed to have somewhere to be. All except Rainbow Dash. Her place was in the sky. She freely tore through the air, speeding one way and the next. She buzzed the treetops and raced the wind. The Pegasus swooped over a schoolyard, much to the delight of the children. Climbing several hundred feet, she dove, going as fast as she could. Seconds before hitting the ground, her wings flew open and she took off back into the clear blue. Rainbow Dash felt alive. Then she remembered that she had somewhere to be. She was supposed to meet with Pinkie Pie in 5 minutes. She'd gotten so caught up in her exercises that she nearly forgot. Pinkie had asked Dash to meet her at Sugar Cube Corner at 3. She didn't say why or what they'd be doing, but Dash knew that with Pinkie, it could be anything. She wasn't sure if she really wanted to go, though. She was so engaged with her stunts that she thought about blowing Pinkie off to continue flying. But Dash's conscience got the better of her. She knew that it would hurt Pinkie's feelings, after all. She said it was going to be something special just for the two of them. She considered it and thought, why not? What did she have to lose? Heck, it might be more pranking. Pinkie might have found a bunch more fun stuff to pull off on folks. They had so much fun last time. Dash kicked it to overdrive, mostly to make for lost time, and sped to her appointment. When she walked into the store, she was immediately greeted with her host bouncing in excitement.
Yay, you're here! You're here! I've been waiting all day.
Said the jumping pony.
Sorry if I'm a little late, Pinkie Pie. I was doing my afternoon exercises and lost track of time.
Ha! Sorry. Dash apologized. Sorry. Dash apologized. Pinkie giggled and responded, her tone gleefully reassuring.
Oh, that's okay. You're here now. What's a few more minutes? I've been so excited thinking about all the fun stuff we're gonna do. I haven't stopped bouncing since I woke up. I mean, I almost forgot to breathe since I've been so happy.
Dash gave a slightly uncomfortable laugh. She always appreciated Pinkie's friendly, outgoing way of life, but her overabundant enthusiasm almost creeped her out. Dash was polite, however. If Pinkie had got this worked up, then it must have been good, whatever it is.
So, you ready to get started, Rainbow Dash? I've got everything all ready.
Pinkie said. Dash psyched herself up.
You betcha, Pinkie. What do you got planned? We're gonna bring somebody. I got a couple of good ones I've been thinking about, or maybe you got some stunts you think I could try, or maybe
Making cupcakes.
Pinkie happily announced. Baking? Dash was disappointed.
Oh my god, sorry. Pinkie, you know I'm not good at baking. Remember the last time?
Oh, that's not a problem at all. I only need your help making them. I'll be doing most of the work.
Pinkie explained. Dash thought about it for a second and replied.
Well, alright, I guess that's okay. What exactly do you need me to do?
That's the spirit. Here you go.
Pinkie handed Dash a cupcake. Dash was puzzled.
I thought I was helping you bake.
You will be. I made this one just for you before you got here.
So, is this like taste testing or something?
Dash asked.
Sorta.
Oh, Pinkie said. Dash shrugged and popped the pastry in her mouth. She chewed a bit and swallowed, not bad.
Okay, now what?
Oh,
Now.
Oh, Pinkie informed. No, sorry, you guys are doing it right. I'm messing with your flow.
You take a nap.
Upon hearing that, Dash felt lightheaded. Her world spun, and seconds later, she dropped to the floor. When Dash regained consciousness, she found herself in a dark room. She tried to shake her head, but found a taut leather strap kept it firmly in place. She struggled to move, but the braces around her chest and limbs glued her to a rack formed from a series of sturdy planks, which spread her legs wide apart. Dash's wings were the only part of her not tied down, and they fluttered frantically while she struggled to escape. As she withered, Pinkie jumped into her line of sight.
Goody, you're awake. Now we can get started.
She gleefully stated. She was pushing a cart covered with a cloth.
Pinkie, what's going on? I can't move.
Dash said in a worry.
Well, duh, you're tied down. That's why you can't move. I didn't think you needed to be told that.
But why? What's happening? I thought you said I was going to help make cupcakes.
You are helping. You see, I ran out of the special ingredient, and I need you to get more.
Special ingredient?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Dash was now breathing heavily and started to panic.
What special ingredient?
Pinkie giggled and responded.
You silly.
Dash's eyes widened, her face contorted in fear. Then she started to laugh.
Whoa, you really got me there, Pinkie Pie. I mean, tricking me into thinking I'm gonna get made into a cupcake. I gotta tell you, the best prank yet. You win. You're the best.
Pinkie giggled even more.
Aw, thanks, Dad. But I haven't done pranks today, so I accept your praise.
Dashy was struggling again.
Pinkie, come on, this isn't funny.
Then why are you laughing?
Pinkie grabbed the cloth and whipped it off the cart. The top of the tray contained very sharp medical tools and knives carefully organized and ready. There was a medicine bag and several other objects next to them. Dash was now in full panic mode. She was starting to hyperventilate. Her mind was racing as she tried to reason with the pink pony.
You can't do this, Pinkie. I'm your friend.
I know you are. That's why I'm so happy that I got you here. We get to share your last moments together, just you and me.
She was skipping again.
Oh, sorry, I'm just like shocked. But the other ponies will wonder where I am. When the clouds pile up, they'll come looking for me, and then you'll get found out.
Dash was desperate.
Oh, Dash.
Pinky said.
Don't worry, there are plenty of Pegasus to take care of a few clouds. And besides, no pony will find out. I mean, how long do you think I've been doing this?
And with that, the lights suddenly came to life and showcased the rest of the room.
Oh gosh, no.
Dashi reeled in horror at the image presented to her. The room was decorated with a typical but twisted Pinkie Pie flair. Colorful streamers of dried entrails danced around the ceiling. Brightly painted skulls of all sizes were stuck on the walls, and organs done up in pastels filled with helium tied to the back of chairs. The tables and chairs were made of bones and flesh past ponies. Dash cringed at the centerpiece of the table nearest to her, the head of 4 foals, their eyes closed like they were sleeping, wearing party hats made from their own skin. She recognized one of them as Apple Bloom's classmate. Her eyes darted back and forth, and then she gazed up at the patchwork banner hanging from the rafters, made from several pony hides. The words, "Life is a party," was sprawled in red. Dash's attention was stolen by a party horn unfurling and trickling her nose. She saw Pinkie Pie standing in front of her. The party pony was wearing a dress quilted from cutie marks. On her back fluttered 6 Pegasus wings, all different colors. As she skipped in excitement, her necklace of unicorn horns loudly crackled together.
I'm just sorry. Like it?
She said.
I made it myself.
Dashi pleaded.
Pinky, please. I'm sorry if I did anything to you. I didn't mean it. Please let me go. I promise I won't tell any pony.
Oh, Dash, you didn't do anything. It's just that your number came out up and, well, I don't make the rules. We can't turn back now.
Oh, Dash was tearing up. How could this be happening?
Aw, don't be sad, Dash.
What am I looking at? Hold on, sorry.
Pinky said.
Oh, Pinky said, sorry, my bad.
You're good. Look, I'll cheer you up. I brought you a friend.
Out of seemingly nowhere, Pinky displayed a blue and yellow painted skull. It was about pony size, but it had very defining features. A beak. Dash was freaking out.
Is that?
Hey, Dash.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I
Is it-
messed it up. Go ahead.
hey, Dash, let's hang together. These ponies are lame O's, dweebs.
Pinky mimicked.
I caught her right before she left town. Remember when I left the party for about 20 minutes? That wasn't enough time to play with her, of course. I had to wait till after the party to do that. But boy, am I glad I did it. It was worth for the flavor alone. Griffins taste like 2 animals at once. It's amazing.
Rough.
I know she didn't have the number like everyone else in Ponyville, but when I was gonna get another by chance to try a griffin, but not.
When I'm with you, when I'm not.
And,
When I'm not with you.
In hindsight, I probably should have asked where she came from so I can get more, but I forgot. I'll tell you what though, she was quite the fighter. Lasted a long time, which was fun for me. I got chance to play with somebody other than a pony and try new things. It's too bad she had such a potty mouth. So she said much bad stuff. I had to take her tongue out. You know, bad language makes for bad feelings, Dash.
Dash didn't have anything to say. She just sobbed and withered.
Well,
Pinky said, putting the skull down.
that's enough reminiscing. It's time to begin.
She picked up a scalpel and walked over to Dash's right flank. Without any flair, she placed the blade an inch above her cutie mark and started a circular cut around it. Her lungs working overtime, Dash shouted in pain and tried desperately to pull away, but the braces held her still. Finishing the incision, Pinky grabbed the curved skinning knife from the tray. She worked it under the skin and sliced the hide away from the muscle. Dash grounded her teeth as she tearfully watched as her flesh came off. Pinky then moved to the other side and completed the other flank. Once she was done, Pinky held up both cutie marks in front of her friend and started waving them like pom-poms. Dash just whimpered, her thighs burned. Placing the skin down, Pinky selected the large butcher knife and walked behind Rainbow Dash.
Hope you don't mind. I think I'm gonna wing it now.
Pinky laughed.
Bruh.
She grabbed the left one and played with it for a second. Then she stretched the wing out. She brought the blade down at the base. Instantly, Dash screamed and thrashed her appendage. The movement threw off Pinkie Pie's aim. She tried to hit the mark again but missed wide and put a huge slice in Rainbow's back.
Dash, you gotta stay still or I'll keep missing.
She took another whack and hit the target. She swung again and again. Blood sprang into the air, but realized she wasn't getting anywhere. The blade just wasn't going through the bone.
I guess I forgot to sharpen it. I'll try something else.
She stated as she tossed the knife over her shoulder, the blade embedding itself in the table. The crying Rainbow Dash heard the sound of a metal box opening and closing.
Say, Dash, why do they call it a hacksaw? It doesn't hack. Hacking is what I do with the knife. This is a saw. I don't get it.
Bruh. Pinkie placed the tool over the last attempt. It effortlessly sailed through the bone and skin. The painful feeling of the teeth biting into her made Dash want to vomit. She watched helplessly as her wing flew over her head and landed with the fluff on the table. Pinkie moved the neck. Oh my god. Pinkie moved the next and started sawing. Okay. This shit is written so fucking weird. I thought I was having like an attack or something.
No.
Dashie didn't struggle this time. She had given up trying to fight and just cried. Then the sawing abruptly paused. Pinkie was only halfway done, the wing hanging off by only a sliver.
Hey, Dash.
She piped up.
Think fast.
Suddenly, she yanked the wing as hard as she could. The bone snapped, but the skin held tight. The pull ripped a long strip of flesh down Dash's back to her rump. The unexpected trauma caused her body to seize. She felt the warm release between her legs as her pelvis tensed up. Dash's loud, unending melody of pain filled the room. Unable to catch her breath, she blackened out. She awoke with a gasp. The stench of her urine filled her mucus-cracked nostrils. She saw a very pouty Pinkie Pie removing the adrenaline needle from her chest. Stomping her hooves, the frustrated Pinkie Pie lashed out.
Didn't anybody teach you manners? It's very rude to fall asleep when somebody invites you over to spend time with them. How would like if I came over to your house and went to sleep? I'm sorry, Dash. You're boring. I think I'll take a nap. You think I like always doing this by myself? I told you how excited I got when I found you were next. I was excited to have a friend to be here with me when I worked, but no, you've got to be the inconsiderate. You know, I thought you were tough. I thought you could handle anything. I had foals stand better than you. Do I have to baby you? Huh? Is this how you want me to remember you? As a baby?
She stopped to catch her breath. Dash blinked and softly cried. Her back was on fire. Pinkie then popped something red into her mouth and began to chew. She noticed Dash was staring at her.
What?
She asked.
Oh, this?
Holding up another piece.
Well, while you were asleep, I got a little impatient and helped myself sample. I got it from your leg. You're not bad. Want to try some?
The fuck? Without waiting for a response, she shoved the strip of meat into the revolted Rainbow Dash's mouth. She immediately spat it out. Pinkie picked up.
If you didn't want it, you could have just said no.
And then she ate the discarded snotty morsel.
Like you haven't had it before.
Swallowing, she turned her attention to the small can on the tray. She removed the lid, revealing that it was filled with burning coals. Sitting on top of the fire were several large nails. Dash began to panic again. Bleh. Pinkie picked up the can and walked over to Dash's left. Carefully picking up a nail and grabbing a hammer, she positioned the spike at the seam between her leg and her hoof.
No, Pinkie Pie. No!
Dash screamed.
No! No!
Yo, what a performance, y'all. The hammer came down and the nail punctured under her skin. The white-hot burning was too much. Dash pulled and thrashed at the base. Her skin rubbed into her, that's what she said. Pinkie tried to line up another one, but couldn't find her aim. She let out a frustrated grunt. When she pulled the hammer back to take a wild swing, Dash bursted out crying and begging.
Please, stop! Please stop!
Pinkie rolled her eyes. Putting the hammer back down, she walked back in front of her friend. She started pensively at the broken Pegasus. Gilda didn't even cry this much when she struck that live Paris Sprite down her throat. Pinkie thought for a minute about what to do next. Then there was a sudden spark of her imagination. She grabbed the gear wheel on the rack and laid Rainbow Dash on her back. She moved to Dash's hind legs, bringing the can with her. Pinkie picked up the hammer again and she drove a searing piece of metal into the bottom of Dash's hoof. Dash screamed again. Pinkie put one into the other hoof. Next, she located the small generator on the tray. Tying the copper wires to the nail, she gave Dash a wink and flipped the switch. Electricity rocketed through Dash's body. The blue pony reacted immediately. Body seized, muscles struck taut. Her hips thrusted upward and her eyes rolled back. She let out a deep, throat-shredding cry. Pinkie giggled and danced in place. She turned up the juice. Dash convulsed uncontrollably. Her bladder emptied once more. That is so weird. After about 5 minutes, Pinkie shut off the power. The area smelled lightly of cooked flesh and burnt enamel. She put Dash upright again and tried snap the delirious and drooling pony to back to attention.
Dash. Dash. Wake up.
Rainbow Dash managed to give her a modicum of weak acknowledgement. Pinkie reached into the medical bag and pulled out a large syringe.
All right, time for the last round.
Dash looked at the needle and Pinkie took that as a question as to what it was.
Something to take the pain away.
She informed as she walked around to Dash's ruined backside. She struck the needle into the lower part of her spine. Dash flinched. Coming into the front again, she told her friend,
In a few minutes, you won't be able to feel anything below your rib cage. Then you'll be able to stay awake to watch the harvest.
Dash
Wow.
started to cry again.
Pinkie Pie.
She trembled out.
Yeah.
I want to go home. Okay.
Sorry, the way that you're like, yeah.
What?
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I can see wanting to do that.
Oh my god, the pony replied.
Sometimes I want to give up, say, I'm done with this mess, and then go to bed. But you know what? You can't shrug off your responsibilities. You got to pull yourself up and meet the challenges ahead. That's the only way you're going to get ahead in life.
Dash cried. Minutes passed and the drug took effect. Dash was numb from her chest to her flanks. Aware of this, Pinkie approached with her scalpel with only a smiling glance to Dash. She made a long cut across her pelvis just above her crotch. Moving up her body, she drew a similar incision under the ribs. One final cut was made down her stomach, connecting the first two.
Looks like I got my eye on you, Rainbow Dash.
Okay,
Bruh.
sorry. Not even the right eye, whatever. With a moist, gooey sound, the new
Ew.
door... Yeah.
Gooey.
The new door flapped open. The sight of her own organs and the lack of feeling caused Dash to breathing to intensify. God fucking damn, this shit's making me tweak out. Pinkie sliced open the abdominal sac and grabbed the large intestine, separating it from the rest of the digestive tract and pulling them from the forming cavity. Pinkie was getting joyful and started making jokes. Dash, growing weaker from the new source of blood loss, tried to shut out the comedy act. Pinkie was laughing.
Look at me, I'm Rarity.
She said, slinging the tube around her neck and spreading blood in all directions.
Isn't my new scarf so pretty?
Reaching back in, she cut the smaller intestine off of the bowels, squeezing out the excess excrement. Pinkie filed it through her teeth, and dragged it back and forth.
Dentists say you gotta floss every day, Dash.
Rainbow Dash was barely aware what was going on anymore. The shock was causing her to fade. Pinkie got disappointed. Diving back into the guts, she ramped up her routine.
Aw, don't go yet, Dash.
She started pulling up the rest of the organs, stopping at each one.
I know I can be real pancreas, but you know I'm just kidney with you. You really got to learn to live it up. Boy, these jokes are getting bladder. No shit. Yeah,
Bruh.
guess you gotta develop a stomach for them.
She placed the discarded body parts into a bucket, keeping the last one for a bit longer.
Oh, bagpipes.
She said, placing the tube in her mouth and the organ in her armpit. A spurt of acid hit her tongue.
Ew. Oh, hey. There's your cupcake, Rainbow Dash.
Dash didn't hear her. She had slipped from consciousness minutes ago. Pinkie, not satisfied yet, hit her with another adrenaline shot. Dash woke up for the last time, her heart jumping. Her blood flowed out faster. It wouldn't be long now. Pinkie put Dash down on her back and straddled her chest, scalpel ready.
You know, Dash, I'm disappointed. I thought you would have lasted longer. I really wanted to spend more time with you before we got here. But I guess it's my fault. I should have taken it a little slower. Oh well. It was really nice knowing you, Rainbow Dash.
Oh my god. The blade stuck into the blue one's throat and worked its way up her chin. Coming back down, it circled around her neck. The last thing Dash felt was her skin being cut from her skull, the metal scraping her teeth. Then she was gone. Pinkie Pie stared into the mirror. She did a really good job, even keeping the eyelids. She winked. Dash winked back. Pinkie smiled. I think she's dead. I think so too, Karma. I don't know. It sounds kind of crazy. But still, she was sad that her friend was gone now. It only lasted 50 minutes, not nearly as long as she wanted. She looked back, the caviar hanging... What?
Cadavir or something?
Cadavir hanging there in the center of the room. The last of its fluids draining in the pan. Yep, no more Rainbow Dash. Then Pinkie cocked her head. She was starting to take notice of the fact that there really wasn't that much damage.
In fact,
She began to say.
I think
An idea exploded in her head. She was good at sewing, and she had all the pieces. All she had to do was put her back together. Yeah, just get some stuffing and bingo. She'd have Rainbow Dash forever. In fact, that's what she'd do for all her friends when their numbers came up. She was so excited. She skipped over the body with the Skinner to get started. The cupcakes can wait. Pinkie had a friend to make. Silver Spoon suddenly woke up. She was on her back and couldn't move. She couldn't see. Where was she? Freaking out, she was just about to scream when a pony from the bakery appeared in front of her.
Wait, is that mine?
Yeah, you're the high.
Hi.
She giggled. I guess you could be Silver Spoon, Jade.
Okay, where am I? What's going on?
The frightened little foal asked.
Oh, well, you see, your number came up, and I gotta make cupcakes.
Pinkie explained.
What does that mean? What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing. I wouldn't worry if I was you. It'll be over soon.
She approached...
Smirk.
Oh, it's the Merc. She approached the girl, scalpel at the ready, when a small voice called out from behind. I'll be this one. Miss Pinkie, what do you think you're doing? She paused and turned over to look at Apple Bloom. The yellow baby pony walked up to her with an angry look on her face. Silver Spoon started to feel relieved. I can't believe you're doing this, she pouted. I thought ya said this one was gonna be mine. Pinkie apologized.
Oops, sorry about that. Guess I forgot. Here you go.
She handed the blade over. Apple Bloom climbed onto the table and stood over her prey. Silver Spoon tried to struggle. She stared in fear at Apple Bloom in her apron, the pink apron with a shiny tiara on it. Silver Spoon started to cry. Apple Bloom grinned and opened her mouth. Hey, Silver Spoon. Guess who's gonna be a blank flank? The end. What do we think, guys?
I think somebody died.
Shut the fuck up.
Bruh.
What do you mean, bro? What's wrong?
My eye's been twitching this whole time, sorry.
What are you talking about? This is like really good. So like, what did you think?
Very interesting, very graphic. I want to know how old this person was when they made
They're
this.
probably like 13, okay?
I mean, I won't lie. It's very descriptive compared to what I've seen.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Guys, this is so scary. Like, could you imagine? Little kids show that your favorite character, Pinkie Pie, kills off your other favorite character, Rainbow Dash? What would you rate it out of 10? 10 being like, this is the best creepypasta I've ever read in my life, and number 1 being, this is dog shit.
Like a 4.
A 4? What was the saving
Yeah.
grace for you, Jade?
I don't know. I don't know.
Alright, Karma, what about you? What do you think? What was your takeaway?
I think, I mean, let me do the rating first. I think I rate this, I think I rated it a 3 out of 10.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Y'all are just a bunch of little
The
haters.
errors, right? Okay. How to explain this? Like, I mean, granted, it was a short. It's like short explanation of the story and everything, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of reading errors.
Of course.
That's why.
But
I
I
don't
mean,
like
it is what it is. It's a wiki. Very graphic in a sense. Yeah. I
Yeah,
like horror stuff, but like this didn't really like scare me. Like even if I was a kid, like if I read this, I'm like, oh wow, oh cool. Like how I feel right now.
Probably be like, what the fuck?
I would have said 5
Um,
out of 10. Oh, go ahead.
no, you're good.
No, what
I
you
would
gonna
have.
say?
I would have said 5 out of 10 if it didn't have a cliffhanger on it.
Oh, there's more.
Like,
There's like 20
oh.
different sequels to this story.
oh my god.
Oh,
Not like
okay,
20,
never
but there's
mind.
quite a few. There's the Apple Bloom, who's another character from My Little Pony. There's her story of how she kills Silver Spoon. There's the origin story of how she became Pinkie Pie's apprentice. And then there's a bunch of different
Oh.
sequels of all 3 of Pinkie Pie's sisters and how they became killers too.
Okay, never mind. 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
I give this shit a 2 out of 10. This is dog shit. I felt like I had an aneurysm when I was reading it because of all the grammar and all the.
Well, I didn't have to read that much, so that's why I was like, it's okay. Like I agree, like being right in there. Like I wouldn't give it a high rating at all.
Also, it's just like way too gory for like no reason. Like this is clearly like, oh, this is a kids show. Let's like flip it on its head and make it gory. But like I said, this is
That's
like
the other part.
Yeah.
Because like, what if a kid like decided like, oh, I want to go read something about blah 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 blah. I like My Little Pony, and then they come across it and they're like,
Yeah.
and going like to their mother, father, like crying, like, Mom, I just read this. Like, you wouldn't believe it, and then like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Making cupcakes.
So there's another pony creepypasta called Rainbow Factory, and this one features Rainbow Dash as like the villain. And explains how rainbows are made in the world of Equestria. We're not reading that one because that one's kind of lame.
I was just say that. Why does anyone care?
It's supposed to be like a gory explanation because like the rainbow, like in the show, mind you, this is like early seasons. Like when Cupcakes was made, this was like early seasons of My Little Pony. But for Rainbow Factory in the show, there's a literal cloud factory in Cloudsdale, which is where all the Pegasi live and shit. And that's how they made a rainbow. But they don't like the main cast don't go in this factory, and they don't explain how rainbows are made. So this creepypasta explains how they're made, and basically what they do is that they kill ponies for their color. And that's how the rainbow's made. Even Junie's rainbow colors are made from that. Yeah, no, I was literally born and raised in the Rainbow Factory, and Rainbow Dash is my dad. Alright, so I'm gonna have Jade pick her next story of my list, unless there's a specific request that she wants to read.
You already know what I'm gonna say.
You're gonna say Eyeless Jack?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
Bah, you asked.
Eyeless Jack.
Hey,
I
y'all
don't
gotta
want the
read all
AI
that.
shit,
I'm
bro. Get the fuck away from me. Eyeless Jack story. Eyeless Jack villains wiki. Is this gonna give me the story? No.
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 Ben.
Bad.
Right.
Ben.
No.
Is it creepypasta.com? Creepypasta.com?
Yes.
No.
Overview. Appearance.
No.
No. Eyeless Jack creepypasta. Hello.
Ugh.
Okay. So you guys are gonna have to scroll a little bit.
Bah.
It's on the creepypasta.com website. Okay. You're gonna see like overview, appearance, and origins. We don't want all that. You want the red text that starts with Eyeless Jack creepypasta story, and the first line is "Hello, my name is Mitch."
On it.
Okay.
I was like quick with it.
Where the fuck? Get this ad out the way.
Oh, I don't even get
What does
ads.
it
It just
say?
says advertisements. Oh, the first line will say, "Hello, my name is Mitch."
Yeah, found it.
Okay.
Blah.
Does Jade want to read this story?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to see what dialogue. There's a doctor. And then...
So am I? Wait. How
Oh
long?
my god, this is really short. I didn't realize how short this was.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be the
You want me to
doctor.
read it?
Actually, Karma, do you want to
Okay.
read the doctor, or do you want me to be the doctor?
I'll be the doctor.
Oh, I don't even get to
Fiddle-
read. I'm just playing. Okay.
Uh,
No, you can be the doctor. I think it's
wait,
literally
no,
just.
no. I'm questioning where it says advertisements. Is that dialogue?
No,
under
no.
Ignore advertisement.
Yeah.
that? Okay.
It's just the word there because it's where an ad's like actually supposed to be, but we have ad blocker.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Ready when you guys are.
How do I know which one's the doctor? Which one's the doctor again?
He's like scrolling. You just gotta scroll down a little bit. He's no one important.
No, I know, but when does he speak?
Like a little bit further in to the story. I was just scrolling through to see if there's any dialogue.
Where the fuck did it go? What?
What?
Okay, there it is.
What?
Found it. Huh?
I guess. I'll figure it out, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Mitch. I'm here to tell you guys about an experience I had. I don't know if it was paranormal or whatever stupid words people use to describe supernatural phenomena. But after that thing visited me, I believe in that paranormal trash now. A week after I moved in with my brother...
Okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop.
No, you're good. A week after I moved in with my brother Edwin, after my house was foreclosed, I finished unpacking. Edwin liked the idea of me moving in, since we had not seen each other for 10 years, so I was excited too. My brain. I soon fell asleep after I moved in. After the first week, I heard rustling noises coming from outside about 1 in the morning. Sorry. I thought it was a raccoon, so I ignored it and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I told Edwin about it, and he agreed. Okay. Pop off. The next night, however, I thought I heard my window opening and a loud thump, as if something entered my room. Hehe. I darted up and looked around my room, but I saw nothing. The next morning, Edwin dropped his coffee cup when he saw me. He held up a nearby mirror and I saw myself. I had a large gash in my left cheek.
And I was covered in buckets of cum everywhere. Who said that?
What?
Anyways, proceeding.
Yo, this is like the not safe for work version of Eyeless Check. That's crazy. All my holes were leaking if you catch my drift.
What the
Okay, anyway.
After I was rushed to the hospital, my doctor told me that I must have been sleepwalking. But then he showed me something that... What?
The doctor said I must have been sleepwalking. Okay, buddy.
But then he showed me something that made my blood turn cold. He lifted up my shirt to reveal a sewn-up incision where my kidneys were. Stared into his eyes, mine widening. You somehow... Oh. Proceed, doctor?
You somehow lost your left kidney last night.
My doctor told me.
We don't know how, though. Sorry, Mitch.
Bruh.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No, there's
yeah.
a few more. There's like some dialogue at the bottom.
Oh, okay. The next night was my breaking point. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and dark blue mask with no nose or mouth, staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. The creature also had some black substance dripping from its sockets. I grabbed a camera from the nearby mantle and took a picture. Immediately after taking the shot, the creature lunged at me. But okay, never mind. Like, why
Wait till after.
But I forgot this is literally okay. Anyway, immediately after taking the shot, the creature lunged at me and tried to claw open my chest and get to my lungs. I stopped it by kicking it in the face. As I ran out my room, I grabbed my wallet. I would need the money. I ran out of my brother's house into the night. I eventually ended up in the woods near Edwin's house and tripped on a rock.
Ha!
L. Skill issue. Anyways, I fell unconscious and woke up in the hospital. My doctor, the same one who treated me before, entered the room.
I've got good news and bad news, Mitch.
My doctor started.
The good news is that you had minor injuries, and your parents are going to pick you up.
I sighed with relief.
The bad news is that your fucking brother has been killed by some...
Okay.
Your brother has been killed by some... thing. Sorry.
Advertisement.
Okay, how did the doctor find me?
Hey, yo. Wait till the end.
Spoiler.
I mean, I already know how this goes, but...
Ah.
My parents took me back to Edwin's house to collect my remaining belongings, which I did. Upon entering my room, I was scared, but remained calm. I grabbed my camera and then stopped dead in my tracks. In the hallway leading to my room, I saw Edwin's body with something small lying next to it. I retrieved it up and entered my parents' car, not mentioning Edwin's corpse.
Bruh.
So,
Wait, we got like 3 lines left. Come
Right.
on.
I looked at the thing I had picked up and nearly vomited. I was holding my stolen half-eaten kidney and some black substance on it.
Dun dun dun.
Okay,
Yay! What do you guys think?
I love Eyelash Jack, but this story's kind of whack.
This is his
because,
story.
like,
What are you talking about?
There's so many different, like, better adaptations to this.
This was the
In my
original.
opinion. I know this is the original. I like it. I like the idea, but also I know that it grew into something more about, like, all this cultist stuff and this, that, and the other, la 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 la. Anyways, but besides the point, like, why are we ignoring that his brother's body was just left there? The parents didn't even say anything. The doctor, like,
The doctor's
well, how did
like,
you find me in the woods? Like, how did you find me in the woods?
Maybe because the doctor was Eyelash Jack.
Well, yeah, because there's also that spectacle too, like with the stories that, like, oh, Jack, cause like, oh, the doctor's like, a doctor and he has scalpels and stuff, and blah blah, and that's where the scalpel comes into play, and that's how he can get the kidneys out, and this, that, and the other, and blah 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 blah, right? Why
Yeah.
are you just being quiet?
No, I'm just listening you tweak out. That's all.
Okay, anyways. But yeah, I love Eyelash Jack. I'm not giving my 2 cents.
What are you gonna rate the story?
Buns. But,
Oh.
nah. I mean, I love Eyelash Jack, like I said, but there's better adaptations and more.
Yeah, like the
That
not
someone
safe
drew
for
to,
work
but-
version.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking
Where
about.
he's like on top of you, shirtless, and he's like
That is
jacked
not
as
what
fuck.
I'm that is not
What?
what I'm talking about.
Guys, this is
Not
getting-
what I'm
He's
talking
gonna
about.
eat you out.
No. Whoa!
What?
Okay, no. No. Talking about, like, how he became who he was and, like, what he, like, originated from. Instead of, like, the sheer fact, like, oh, he literally takes people's kidneys and eats them. And then sews them back up.
Bro, need this snack.
He's
He's gonna sew me up.
No, he's
Alright.
mine.
Okay, fine.
Only me.
Okay.
But I mean, I like the original. It's the OG, you know. Like, we get the vibes, we get the idea, pretty neat, interesting, but also
Yeah.
like there's still some missing aspects to it, in my opinion. Like, okay, how the fuck did he just nonchalant get into your house? Why are we not locking windows? How are we
He
just
wanted Eyelash Jack to
nonchalant
come in.
reaching over? That's what I'm saying. That's me for real. Like, how are you just reaching over, grabbing a camera, and taking a picture as if, like, this weird demon thing is just like, let him take a picture, haha. Like, and then he's like clawing at him. But also, if you think about the fact that his long ass claws, like, it, like, hypothetically, like, did he use that to cut him open, like his fingers, or did he actually like use another tool? Because it was never like
Right? We don't know.
explained how.
Wee
see, there's-
woo.
America,
Wee, woo,
explain.
wee, woo.
Woo,
No, I love
woo,
Eyelash Jack.
woo,
My favorite.
woo. That's Jade sucking off Eyelash Jack.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Karma, what do you think?
Hell yeah, brother.
I think I think it was dog ass out of 10 just because of how short it was, but they like
Y'all!
adaptations.
Then
Or,
what
like-
do you say, Judy?
This is like a 10 out of 10. Like, this is like one of the
Don't
best.
say that just because.
Don't stop laughing.
Did you hear how she got closer to her mic?
Yeah,
This
guys,
is
this
like
is
a 10 out of 10.
This is like a 10 out of 10, bro.
Like,
This
I
is-
rate it like the highest rating ever.
That's what Jade sounds like when she's sucking off
That's literally-
Eyelash Jack.
Yes.
Okay, no, for real. I would
I mean,
probably,
it
I'd
could've
rate
been
this shit
better.
like 3 out of 10. Like, this shit's like,
Yeah, in my
ass.
opinion, it could have been like a whole 10 times better. And there
I wish
have
it was
been
longer.
Plenty of. Yes,
like
and like
me.
I said, better explanations to like how and why and this and that and the other, instead of like, oh, creature here in my room. I ended up like,
what's
whatever.
poking me?
Whoa. Please don't. But do it. No, but yeah, I feel like there could have been more explanation to the story. It's very short for a
Yeah.
story of a character. Like, it's very vague.
Why is it like 10 paragraphs long? Why was
Not even
Cupcakes
that.
longer than this fucking story, bro?
That's what I'm saying. It had a little bit more of an explanation. Like,
Ah!
like I said, this is just vague. But I don't care. I still love Eyeless Jack because, there's, like I said, there's other adaptations to it in a way, like this, that, and the other, like, which are great. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, Karma. I'm gonna have you pick the next story from my list, unless you have
Bing
one
bong.
in mind.
What was your list?
Alright, so I have Sonic EXE, which I know that we read it together, but Jay doesn't know. We have Jeff the Killer, the original.
Jeff the Poopy.
Jeff the Kills You.
Sorry.
Laughing Jack. Abandoned by Disney.
Nah.
And then
Is that the Mickey
Squidward's
one?
Suicide.
Is that the
Squidward's
Mickey
Suicide
one, the middle
Squad.
one?
What?
Do you hear me?
What?
Is that the Mickey one?
Yeah, Abandoned by Disney's the Mickey
Okay.
one. That's
That's what I thought.
It's not Mouse.avi, it's a different story.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Let's do Laughing Jack.
Ah!
Sorry.
She's like, oh.
Alright, my bad. Alright. We're not gonna read the origin of Laughing Jack, we're just gonna read the Laughing Jack story, okay?
Monkey.
Because fuck that shit.
Why?
Yeah, fuck this bullshit.
Because I'm not reading an origin story, okay? I just want Laughing Jack to be as is, okay? Okay. So question. Wait, hold on. Let me see what the dialogue and shit looks like. It's also on the Creepypasta website, so you're gonna have to scroll not that far. Let me see. Let me see how. We got 5-year-old James. We also have the father who's like
James? Sorry.
Oh my god. And then we have Laughing Jack. I know that he talks. So, who wants to be the narrator / the dad? Who wants to be 5-year-old James? And who wants to be Laughing Jack?
I'll be Laughing Jack.
Fuck! Okay.
What was that?
Oh God.
Sorry.
Is it? Are we starting at? It was a nice summer day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I be the kid?
You want to be the kid?
Yeah, so I can talk like a stupid person.
Okay. Okay, I'll be the narrator / the dad.
Hello?
Oh yeah, let me share my screen.
Hibachi Hanabari Teriyaki.
Sushi sashimi!
Sashimi.
Flies away.
Oh.
Disappears. Alright.
Disintegrates like Thanos.
Absolutely
Snaps.
Right.
something wrong.
I don't feel
We
so good.
know.
I don't feel so
Holy
good,
fruit.
Mr. Stark.
Bang dang ow.
Bruh.
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 Ben?
Man.
Friend.
Yes.
No.
I had to stop myself for a second.
Ha ha ha. Alright.
Yes.
Oh my god, okay.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my drink.
Twinkie twink.
You guys could hear the plastic water bottle.
I gotta go shower eventually. I'll
Oh my
probably in
God,
like the next
smelly.
hour. Okay. I shower every day. I don't stink.
No, I'm just kidding.
Alright, Stinky, calm down. Don't worry, we'll probably only take like another hour anyway, so. It'll be fine. Okay. Here we go. It was a nice summer day. My 5-year-old son, James, was playing outside in the backyard of our suburban home. James has always been a quiet boy. He plays by himself mostly, but he never had many friends. But he always had a wild imagination. I was in the kitchen feeding our dog Fido when I heard what sounded like James talking to someone in the backyard. I'm not sure who it was he could be talking to. Could he have finally made a friend? Being a single... Oh, that's a mom. My bad. I thought it was a dad. Being a single mom, it was hard for me to always keep an eye on my son, so I decided to go outside and check on him. Advertisements. When I went to the backyard, I was a bit confused because James was the only person back there. Was he talking to himself? I could have sworn I heard another voice. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm the parent. James, it's time to come inside. I called out to him. He came inside and sat down at the kitchen table. It was about lunchtime, so I decided to make him a turkey sandwich. James, who were you talking to out there? I asked. James looked up for a moment.
I was playing with my new friend.
He said, smiling. I poured him some milk and continued to pry, as any good mother would. Does your friend have a name? Why didn't you ask him to have lunch with us? I asked. James stared at me for a moment before replying.
His name is Laughing Jack.
I was a bit taken aback by what he had said. Oh, that's a strange name. What does your friend look like? I asked, a bit confused.
He's a clown. He has long hair and a big swirly cone nose. He's got long arms and baggy pants with stripy socks, and he always smiles.
I realized my son was talking about an imaginary friend. I suppose it's normal for kids his age to have imaginary friends, especially when he has no real kids to play with. It's probably just a phase.
Right.
Side-eye. Bombastic side-eye. The rest of the day went by as per usual, and it was starting to get late, so I put James to bed. I tucked him in, gave him a kiss, and made sure to turn on his nightlight before I closed the door. I was pretty tired myself, so I decided to go to bed not long after. I had an awful nightmare. Ha! It was dark. I was in some kind of rundown amusement park. I was scared, running through an endless field of empty tents, broken down rides, and abandoned game hunts. The whole place had a horrible look to it. Everything was black and white. The prize stuffed animals all hung from nooses in the game huts, all with sick grins stitched on their faces. It felt like the whole park was looking at me, even though there wasn't another living being in sight. Then suddenly, I began to hear music play. The sound of Pop Goes the Weasel being played on a squeak box echoed through the park. It was hypnotizing. I followed its tune to the circus tent, almost in a trance, unable to stop my legs from moving forward. It was pitch black. The only light came from a single spotlight shining on the center of the big top. As I walked towards the light, the music box slowed down. I found myself singing along, unable to stop. I'm not singing that.
Can I do it?
Yes.
I'm just gonna speak it.
Okay.
All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey, though, to us was all in fun.
Advertisements. Thank you, Jade.
Slay.
Slay! The music
Yay!
stopped right before its climax, like me, and suddenly the lights shot on. The intensity
Shot
of the
on.
Yeah,
Wow.
like me.
Edging.
Okay.
Whoa, Karma, chill
Oh, who said
out.
that?
The intensity. Stop being freaky, bro. The intensity of the lights was practically blinding. All I could see was the dark silhouette shuffle towards me. Then another one appeared, and another, and another. There were dozens of them, all coming towards me. I couldn't move. My legs were frozen. All I could do was watch as the haunting figure drew nearer. As they got closer, I could see they were children. As I looked at each one, I noticed they were all horribly disfigured and mutilated. Some had cuts all over their body, others were severely burnt, and others were missing limbs, even eyes. The children enveloped me, clawing at my flesh, dragging me to the ground, and tearing inside me. As the children tore me apart, I faded away, and all I could hear was laughter. Horrible, awful, evil laughter. I woke... What?
No.
I woke up the next morning in a cold sweat. After taking a few deep breaths, I looked over and saw that a few of James's action figures were positioned facing me on top of the nightstand. I sighed.
hell no.
James had probably woken up early, and put these here. I gathered up the toys and made my way to James's room. However, when I opened the door, James was sound asleep. I just shrugged and placed the toys back in his toy box and headed out to the living room. A little while later, James woke up and I made him breakfast. He was quiet and seemed a bit groggy. Perhaps he didn't sleep well either. I decided to ask him about the toys. James, honey, did you put the toys in Mommy's room this morning? His eyes shot up at me for a moment, then quickly glanced back down at his cereal.
I think Jack did it.
I rolled my eyes and responded, Well,
Pop him inside the back of the head. Sorry.
Well, you tell Laughing Jack to keep the toys in your room. James nodded and finished up his breakfast, then decided to go play out in the backyard. Advertisements. I went to relax in the living room, and I must have dozed off because I woke up a couple hours later. Shit, I need to check on James. I was a bit worried. It had been over 2 hours, and I haven't checked on him.
Oh.
What the fuck? It could not be
Holy
me.
shit!
Yo, what the? Yo, if your kid gets skinned out, that's your own damn fault at that point. Sorry to
Oh
say.
god.
I stepped out into the backyard, but James wasn't there anymore. I was getting nervous, so I called out to him. James? James, where are you? Just then, I heard a giggle from the front yard. I rushed through the gate around the front of the house. James was sitting on the sidewalk. I breathed a sigh of relief and walked over to him. James, how many times have I told you to stay in the backyard? James, what are you eating? James looked up at me and then reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of hard candies in all colors. This made me very nervous. James? Who gave you that candy? James just stared at me, not speaking. James, tell mommy, where did you get that candy? James hung his head down low and said,
I think Jack gave it to me.
oh my god. My heart sunk. I kneeled down to look at him in the eye. James, I've had enough of this damn laughing Jack thing. He is not real. Now, this is a very serious situation, and I need to know who gave you the candy. I could see my son's eyes tearing up.
But Mama, Laughing Jack did give me the candy.
Oh, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. James has never lied to me. But what he's telling me is impossible. I made him spit out the candy and I threw away the rest. James appeared to be fine. Maybe I'm just overreacting after all. He could have gotten it from Tom and Linda from next door or Mr. Walker down the street. Either way, I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on James. That night I put James to bed as usual and decided to go to bed early myself. Suddenly, I was awoken by a loud bang coming from the kitchen. I sprung out of bed and hurried down the stairs. When I got to the kitchen, I was horrified. Everything on the counters had been thrown onto the floor, and our dog, Fido, hung dead from the light fixture. What the fuck? His stomach was cut open and stuffed with candy, the same type that James was eating earlier that day. My shock was quietly broken by a sharp scream coming from James's room, followed by loud crashes. I quickly grabbed a knife from the drawer and moved up the stairs with the speed that only a mother whose child is in danger could have. I burst through the door and flicked on the lights. Everything in the room was knocked over and tossed onto the floor. My poor son in his bed crying and shaking with fear, a pool of urine staining the sheets. I scooped my child up and ran out of the house and went next door to Tom and Linda's house. Luckily, they were still awake. They let me use their phone and I called the police. It didn't take them long to arrive and I explained what happened and they looked at me as if I was crazy. They searched the house, but all they found was a dead dog and 2 trashed rooms. The officer told me that someone had probably gotten to the house and done this right before making a quick escape when they heard me coming up the stairs. I knew it wasn't true. All the doors were locked and none of the windows were open. Whatever was in my house didn't come from outside. The next day, James stayed inside. I didn't want him to leave my sight. I went to the garage and found his old baby monitor and set it in his room. If anything comes into tonight, I was going to be able to hear it. I went to the kitchen and grabbed the largest knife from the drawer and put it on my nightstand. Imaginary friend or not, I'm not letting anything hurt my little boy. Soon enough, night came. I put James to bed. He was afraid, but I promised him that I wasn't going to let anything happen to him. I tucked him in.
I had my child sleeping with me.
I know. Gave him a kiss and turned on the nightlight. Before closing the door, I whispered to him, "Good night, James. I love you." I tried to stay up as long as I could, but after a few hours, I felt myself drifting off. My baby would be safe for the night, and I needed sleep. Just as I laid my head on the pillow, I heard a soft noise come from the baby monitor I had put on my nightstand. At first, it sounded like interference, like a kind a radio would make, but then it turned to a soft moan. Was James asleep? Then I heard it, the laugh from my nightmare, that horrible laugh. I sprung from my bed and grabbed the knife from under my pillow. I rushed over to James's room and creeped the door open. I tried the light switch, but it wouldn't come on. I took a step in, and I could feel the warm, thick liquid on my feet. Suddenly, James's nightstand came on, and I could see the absolute horror laid out in front of me. Advertisements. James's body was... James's body was nailed up on the wall, the nails piercing through his hands and feet. His chest was cut wide open and his organs hung down to the floor. His eyes and tongue had been removed along with most of his teeth.
My God!
I was disgusted. I could hardly believe this was my baby boy. Then I heard it again, the soft, desperate moan. James was still alive. My baby, my poor baby, in so much pain, barely clinging to life. I ran across the room and vomited on the floor, but my sickness was interrupted by a horrible crackle coming from behind me. I spun around while wiping bile from my mouth. Then out of the shadows emerged the fiend responsible for all this horror. Laughing Jack. His ghost white skin and matted black hair hung down to his shoulders. He had piercing white eyes surrounded by dark black rings. His twisted smile revealed a row of sharp, jagged teeth, and his skin didn't look like skin at all. It almost looked like rubber or plastic. He wore a patchy black and white clown outfit with striped sleeves and socks. His body itself was grotesque, his long arms hanging down past his waist, and the way he was posed made him almost look boneless, like a rag doll. He let out a sickening laugh as to let me know he was pleased with the reaction of his work. He then turned around slowly in front of James and began to laugh even more at the horrific sight he had just laid out. That was enough to shake me from my terror. I snapped, "Get away from him, you bastard!" Ah! I rushed at the monster, raising the knife above my head and stabbed down at him. But as soon as the knife touched him, He disappeared in a cloud of black smoke. The knife passed right through the pierced James's still bleeding heart, splashing the warm blood on my face. Oh, I guess Laughing Jack doesn't talk. I lied to you, Karma. No, what have I done? My baby. I killed my baby. I immediately fell to my knees. I could hear sirens in the distance growing louder. My boy, my sweet baby boy. I promised Mommy would protect you. But I failed. I'm sorry, James.
She's gonna be seen as like she's the one who did it.
I'm so sorry. Yup. Police soon arrived to find me in front of my son, still wielding the knife covered in my baby's blood. The trial was short. Insanity. I was placed in a house for the criminally insane, where I've been for the past 2 months. It's not so bad here. The only
How
reason
did you come up with that name?
Philipporpolis, where I've been here for the past 2 months. It's not so bad here. The only reason I'm awake now is because someone is playing Pop Goes the Weasel outside my window. I'll talk to the orderlies about it in the morning. ... So what do we think?
I like that one a lot because it's like very like it's like a actual like little short story of the character.
Yeah.
It does remind me of like Pennywise mixed with the Babadook mixed with fucking just a weirdo creep learning kids and then luring them and then yeah.
One character from Hunter
and
x
then
Hunter.
FNAF.
FNAF at Freddy's. That's where I want to be.
Yep.
I love
like
Laughing
that.
Jack. I think Laughing Jack is really cool. Sucks that Snuff Bomb the author is a pedophile, but that's besides the point.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he's a groomer. He was talking to
Kill
like
me.
14-year-olds. He also got some cool cosplays as Laughing Jack. Anyway, I love Laughing Jack. I wish Laughing Jack was real. Y'all know what I'd be doing to Laughing Jack. He could
That's a
stuff
bit-
me with candies if you catch my drift. So, anyway, 10 out of 10 best story. What do you guys think?
I like the story. I would give it an 8.
Like a 8.97 out of 10?
Oh my god. Don't ask for my opinion if you don't like it.
No, like the rating is 8.97 out of 10.
Right.
From 2,000.31k votes.
oh my god.
Where's that?
If you scroll all the way down. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so weird. That
I
I
thought
didn't even
that's-
see that.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. That's weird. No, that's not what I was talking about at all. I just scrolled down to see it.
Yeah.
I had a sneaky suspicion and gut feeling.
Yeah. What about you, Karma?
I think I rate this a 9 out of 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like this. Like Jade said, this one. It was actually a little short story, and it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. We're not reading the origins of Laughing Jack.
Except-
It'll ruin your idea of him.
The only
Well, like
reason I
the
don't.
influences part.
Huh?
Cause I was like scrolling through the Eilish Jack one, and there's like influences when you scroll down more
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
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 Excuse me.
More creepypasta stories can be found. Okay, I see Eilish Jack. What is the more stories? Oh yeah, Eilish Jack has an 8.69 out of 10.
Oh, it's like what someone said for the Eilish Jack thing. They said this could have been so much better. It felt rushed and unrealistic. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
I like how the
could've,
doctors
like-
just say, "Well, looks like you lost your kidney there. Sorry. Have a great day." Like the fuck.
It's like, okay.
It's pretty awesome how
Yep.
the doctor says you lost the kidney without even asking the police to investigate how it disappeared. Nice job,
Nice
whoever made
job,
this
whoever
creepypasta. I liked it.
No wonder they were like, wow, y'all are like really rubbing it in that this is actually not that great.
Oh, by the way, you lost your kidney.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
crazy,
kidney,
bro.
I was hungry, bitch.
That would be me if I was a doctor. I'd be like, bro, you lost your kidney. Anyway, that'll
Yeah,
be
by the way-
$12,000.
Yeah, it says when I was a 12-year-old, I saw his picture and I couldn't sleep or even want to read the story.
Ha!
Hey, same. I hated looking at his fucking picture. It made me uncomfortable when I was a child.
No way, Jade. You
Because
know
like
the
there's-
pictures I sent you of Laughing Jack?
Yes.
Should put that on my stream. See how long it takes for me to get fucking banned.
Like just put it somewhere random.
No,
Just
because
really
it's getting
in
all
the
big
random
and
corner.
shit at first. It's gonna be scaled weird. Okay. Let's find another story. Okay, team. We have Sonic EXE.
Can we do Disney?
Okay, we'll do Abandoned by Disney.
Okay.
You know, because Jade just decided that it was her turn.
Fine, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's chill. It's whatever.
Well, I picked one. Karma picked one. I guess you could pick one, even though you picked the frick.
No. Well, see, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I went first, and then you went second, and then Karma went third, and then it was supposed to go
I'm
back
saying
to
go ahead.
me.
That's why I
And
said go
no,
ahead.
you decided to.
I will say your government name if you do not choose.
Why is Abandoned by Disney on AO3?
What?
Yes, on AO3.
What the fuck? Oh, hell no. No, pick one for real, Junie.
I am. We're doing Abandoned by Disney. Is this? Are we really reading it on Creepypasta Land Wiki? Are we dead ass? I hate.
Deadass.
Oh my god, this is a long ass story. Oh my god, Jade. Yeah, huge for a second.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Howie.
Okay. I guess we're reading it on the Creepypasta Land Wiki.
Sorry, I was like literally trying to scroll through the stuff. What is that picture?
That's Mickey.
That's Mickey, yeah.
Abandoned
That's,
by Disney.
That is not Mickey!
That's photo negative Mickey.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you
Yeah.
just- they found out the filter for the first time ever and they're like, this is it. This is the inspiration.
All right.
Wait, are we doing the where it says some of you may have blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Dude, how long is this?
Yeah, this is a long ass story. That's why I'm saying that this
Holy
is really
shit.
long. Don't worry, it's not that long.
Really?
It's like up till.
As I'm watching you scroll.
My dumbass just connected Treasure
No,
Island.
no, we're not doing this one right now.
You don't want to do this one?
No, this is gonna take way too long. It's already like in 30 minutes is gonna be 7 o'clock.
Oh my god. Okay, so let's do
I'm
let's
bored.
do
I'm
let's
sorry.
do Squidward Suicide Squad. Let's do that one.
Suicide Squad.
Cause I can't say Squidward without saying Suicide Squad. Okay, I have to say Squad.
Squad.
There you go.
Death Note.
Period.
Yeah, Squidward's Death Note.
Death Note.
Okay.
Mr. Saxo Beat.
B.
Freaky beat.
Fucking picture.
Don't worry, estimated reading
Thank
time
you,
7
Monta.
minutes. Okay, there's like a few.
Point.
Is there even any dialogue in this?
Nah.
No,
Kill me.
there's not any dialogue. Does anyone want to read this, or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it.
You want to read it, Karma?
Yes.
Okay. All right, ready when you are.
I just want to start off by saying to you, if you want an answer at the end, prepare to be disappointed. Wait, is this where I start?
Yes.
Okay. There isn't one.
Well,
It was an
GG's,
intern.
wrap it up.
No.
I was an intern at Nickelodeon Studios for a year in 2005 for my degree in animation. It wasn't paid, of course. Most internships aren't, but it did have some perks beyond education. To adults, it might not have seemed like a big one, but most kids at the time would go crazy over it. Now, since I work directly with the editors and animators,
Right.
I got to be the new episodes days before they aired. I'll get right to it without giving too many unnecessary details. They had very recently made the SpongeBob movie, and the entire staff was somewhat sapped of creativity, so it took them longer to start up the session. But the delay lasted longer for more upsetting reasons. There was a problem with the Series 4 premiere that set everyone and everything back for several months.
Advertisements.
Me and the two other interns were in the editing room along with lead animators and sound editors for the final cut. We received the copy that was supposed to be Fear of Krabby Patty and gathered it around the screen to watch. Now, given that it isn't final yet, animators, it isn't final yet. Animators often put it on a mock title card, sort of an inside joke for us, with phony, oftentimes lewd titles and such as "How Sex Doesn't Work" instead of "Rockabye."
Brad?
When SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a sea scallop, nothing particularly funny nothing particularly funny, but work-related Chuck. So when we saw the title card, Squidward's suicide, we didn't think it was more than a morbid joke.
Suicide Squad. I'm just
Bruh.
kidding.
One of the interns did a small throat laugh at it. The happy-go-lucky music plays as is normal. The story began with Squidward practicing his clarinet, hitting a few sour notes like normal. We hear SpongeBob laughing outside, and Squidward stops, yelling at him to keep down as he has a concert that night and needs to practice. SpongeBob says okay and goes to see Pandy and
Oh my god.
Sandy and Patrick. The bubbles splash screen comes up, and we see the ending of Squidward's concert. This is when things began to seem off. While playing, a few frames repeat themselves, but the sound doesn't. At this point, sound is synced up with the animation. So yes, it's not common. But when he stops playing, the sound finishes as if the skip never happened. There is slight murmuring in the crowd before they began to boo him. Not normal cartoon booing that is common in the show, but you could very clearly hear a malice in it. Squidward's in full frame and looks visibly afraid. The shot goes to the crowd, with SpongeBob in center frame, and he too is booing, very much unlike him. That isn't the oddest thing, though. What is odd is that everyone had hyper-realistic eyes, very detailed. Clearly not shots of real people's eyes.
What was that?
Nothing. You didn't see shit.
Oh god. But something a bit more real than CGI. The pupils are red. Some of us looked at each other, obviously confused. But since we weren't the writers, we didn't question its appeal to children yet. The shot goes to Squidward sitting on the edge of his bed, looking very forlorn. The view out of his porthole window is of a night sky, so it isn't very long after the concert. The unsettling part is that at this point there is no sound. Literally no sound. Not even the feedback from the speakers in the room. As if the speakers were turned off, though their status showed that they were working perfectly. He just sat there, blinking in the silence for about 30 seconds, then he started to sob softly. He's put his tentacles, over his eyes and cried quietly for a full minute more. All the while, a sound in the background very slowly growing from nothing to barely audible. It sounded like a slight breeze through a forest. The screen slowly begins to zoom on his face. By slow, I mean it's only noticeable if you look at shots 10 seconds apart side by side. His sobbing gets louder, more full of hurt and anger. The screen then twitches a bit, as if it twists on itself for a split second, then goes back to normal. The wind through the trees sounds get slowly louder and more severe, as if a storm is brewing somewhere. The eerie part is the sound, and Squidward's sobbing sounded real, as if the sound was coming from the speakers, but as the speakers were holes, the sound was coming through from the other side. As good as sound as the studio likes to have, they don't purchase this equipment to be that good to produce the sound of that quality.
Bruh.
Below the sound of the, if I say sound one more time, the sound of the wind and sobbing very faint. Something sounded like laughing. It came at odd intervals and never lasted more than a second. So you had a hard time pinning it. We had watched this show twice, so pardon me if things sound too specific, and I've had time to think about them. After 30 seconds of this, the screen blurred and twitched violently, and something flashed over the screen, as if a single frame was replaced. The lead animation editor paused and rewound frame by frame. What he saw was horrible. It was a still photo of a dead child. He couldn't have been more than 6. The face was mangled and bloodied. One eye dangling from his upturned face popped. He was naked down to his underwear, his stomach crudely cut open and his entrails laying beside him. He was laying at some pavement that was probably a road. The most upsetting part was that there was a shadow of the photographer. There was no crime tape, no evidence tags or markers, and the angle was completely off for a shot designed to be evidence. It would seem the photographer was the person responsible for the child's death. We were, of course, mortified, but pressed on, hoping that it was just a sick joke. Yeah, totally. The screen flipped back to Squidward, still sobbing, louder than before, and half body and frame. There was now what appeared to be blood running down his face from his eyes. The blood was also done in a hyper-realistic style, looking as if you touched it, you'd get blood on your fingers. The wind sounded now as if it were that of a gale blowing through the forest. There were even snapping sounds of branches, the laughing of deep
Baritone.
baritone, thank you, lasting at longer intervals and coming more frequently. After about 20 seconds, the screen again twisted and showed a single frame photo. The editor was reluctant to go back. We all were, but he knew he had to. This time the photo was that of what appeared to be a little girl, no older than the first child. She was laying on her stomach, her Barrett's in a pool of blood next to her.
Bruh.
Her left eye was too popped out and popped
Brr.
naked except for underpants.
Ew.
Her entrails were piled on top of her above another crude of cut along her back. Again, the body was on the street, and the photographer's shadow was visible, very similar in size and shape to the first. I had to choke back vomit, and one intern, the only female in the room, ran out. The show resumed. About 5 seconds after this.
Sorry.
No, you're good. About 5 seconds after this second photo played, Squidward went silent, as did all sound, like it was when the second scene started. He put his tentacles down, and his eyes were now done in hyper-realism, like the others were in the beginning of this episode. They were bleeding, bloodshot, and pulsating. He just stared at the screen, as if watching the viewer. After about 10 seconds, he started sobbing, this time not covering his eyes. The sound was piercing and loud. The most fear-inducing of all is his sobbing was mixed with screams. Tears and blood were dripping down his face at a heavy rate. The wind sound came back, and so did the deep voice laughing. And this time, the still photo lasted for a good 5 frames. The animator was able to stop it on the 4th and backed up. This
Hi,
time,
Vapor.
the photo.
Sorry.
Well, this time the photo was of a boy about the same age, but this time the scene was different. The entrails were just being pulled out from a stomach wound by a large hand. The right eye popped and dangling, blood trickling down it. The animator proceeded. It was hard to believe, but the next one was different, but we couldn't tell what. He went on to the next, same thing. He went back to the first and played them quicker, and I lost it. I vomited on the floor, and the animators and sound editors gasping at the screen. The 5 frames were not as if they were 5 different photos. They were played out as if they were frames from a video. We saw the hand slowly lift out the guts. We saw the kid's eyes focus on it. We even saw 2 frames of the kid beginning to blink. The lead sound editor told us to stop. He had to call in the creator to see this. Mr. Hillenberg arrived within about 15 minutes. He was confused as why he was called down there, so the editor just continued the episode. Once the few frames were shown, all screaming, all sound again stopped. Squidward was just staring at the viewer, full frame of the face, for about 3 seconds. The shot quickly panned out, and the deep voice said,
Got cut off so bad.
See in the Squidward's we see in Squidward's hands a gun, shotgun. He immediately puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger.
Oh my god.
Yo, that's epic.
Realistic blood, brain matter splattered the walls behind him and his bed. He flies back with the force. The last 5 seconds of the episode show his body on the bed, on his side, one eye dangling on what's left of his head above the floor, staring blankly at it. Then the episode ends. Mr. Hillenberg was obviously angry at this. Yeah, he should be angry. He demanded the show to know what the heck was going on. Most people left the room at this point, so it was just a handful of us to watch it again. Viewing the episode twice only served the imprint of the entirety of it in my mind and caused me horrible nightmares. I'm sorry I stayed. Oh my god. The only theory we could think of was the file was edited by someone in the chain from the drawing studio to here. The CTO was called in to analyze what happened. The analyst of the file did show it was edited by new material. However, the timestamp of it was a mere 24 seconds before we began to began viewing it. All equipment involved was examined for foreign software and hardware, as well as glitches, as if the timestamp may have glitched and shown the wrong time. But everything checked out fine. We don't know what happened, and to this day, nobody does. There was an investigation due to the nature of the photos, but nothing came of it. No child scene was identified, and no clues were gathered from the data involved, nor physical clues in the photos. I never believed in the unexpected phenomena before, but now I have something I have something happen and can't prove anything it beyond
Right.
and it evidence. I think twice about things.
You know, all I did was scroll down and see the goofiest picture.
Squidward, yeah.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? This is great. What do you guys think?
I mean, interesting, but also, I don't know,
All right.
very, like, I guess it's a little creative in a way.
This is Squidward's Suicide Squad. What are you talking about?
Don't you mean his Death Note?
True.
Okay.
Did you guys know that SpongeBob, like the actual show, referenced this?
Are you serious?
I think I remember that.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Just like a split-second image.
Mhm.
It's not
Of
this
Squidward's
one, but it's like
face.
something that they drew, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, very gory in a way.
Yeah.
Very, like, peace out, like, kind of tells, like, in a way. Like, it kind of portrays it in a way.
Mhm.
Like, what can happen. Like, basically, it's the idea that it incorporated, like, the fact of, like, him doing the wrongdoings, and then he's like, oh, peace out. Like, because that typically happens in real life. Which is
Just
kind of
like
crazy when
me.
you think about it. Oh, no!
No.
Oh. My name's Squidward and I have to kill myself.
Myself!
In a video game.
In a video game, yeah.
Yeah, in a video game.
It's a squad. That doesn't make it sound any better.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide
Help.
Squad. Yeah, I
Help
mean, it's
me.
very, very descriptive. I don't care for it. In a way.
What are you talking about?
I'll
This
give
is
it like
the best thing ever.
I give it a 6.
Look at. I give it a fucking 5.
What about you, Junie?
Guys,
She's
no,
like,
this
I'd
is
give
like a 10 out of 10. I would give this an 8.96 out of 10 from
Okay.
9.6k votes. I give it 8 Suicide Squidwards out of 10. Okay, just kidding. I would give this like a 4. Actually, no, I give
Yeah,
this
I
like
give
a
it-
3. Everyone I've been rating like a 3 so far. Okay, Laughing Jack gets like a 10 out of 10. Everybody else gets like a 3. In my opinion. Because
I would like say 4, like in a 5 or a 6 for me. No, because like I said, it's like very like descriptive in a way. Like the effort's been put into it. The story's not all that great. I feel like it was like going around back and forth in a way, and since like it was unnecessary. But it also like shows like what actually happens, like if you think about it in like real life.
yeah.
Like someone not being held like accountable for their actions, like, and then they just take the easy way out instead of being like, oh, you did this wrong, like why the fuck you do that? And they're like, I'm not gonna be held accountable, bye. Like that happens, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, it's life, shit. Some people are much more unfortunate than others. So yeah. What you saying? My Eyeless Jack was a 3? No, I'm playing. It was about a 3-ish.
Yeah, Eyeless Jack was ass.
I feel like it was way too rushed.
Yeah.
Some of these I feel like they're too rushed and not well thought out in a way. They were just like, oh, in the spur of the moment, like, nah, type, post. And then like they're reading over and they're like,
What are you talking about?
I could've
They're
added something
cooking,
more.
bro.
I'm cooking, bro.
Debatable.
I know you
They
did not
cook
just say that right now. You telling me
The Laughing Jack one was great.
this is
It- like I said, it
cooking.
gave
They
me,
were
like, my typical-
cooking.
I'm
I'm just
cooking,
playing.
bro. I'm
Do you
cooking.
see my eyes?
My face one. This is my face.
No. Ah! My face just tweaked out because like I literally moved around to where there's like a
Oh.
shady spot in my room.
Uh,
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
Brian.
Oh my fucking god, we're stupid!
No.
No,
Bang,
Shut up!
Brian.
Shut up!
Brian.
bang.
Guys, we are the Suicide Squad.
Are you sure?
Oh my god, y'all!
What? What happened? Must have been the wind.
Yeah.
Me when I'm Suicide Squad.
Uh,
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Hold on.
Hey, a horse says it's on this beat.
When I came down. Ooh. She's tweaking out, guys. She's tweaking out. Help
For
her,
real.
please.
Help.
She needs to be resuscitated. Help. Oh my god.
I'm tweaking out.
My
I'm back.
wife.
Okay, do we want to read another story?
Actually, I thought you was go to bed or something.
I'm not going to bed yet. I have like, what, 10 minutes? Is there one that's long enough, like 10 minutes? I mean, I could still be here when y'all read stuff. It's just I have to dip out to go shower.
No, it's okay.
Right.
Maybe Jeff the Killer?
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Shut the. I was like.
Watch Jeff the Killer be like.
Jeff the Pillar. That's like the first one I ever read. I can't even.
No, Jeff the Killer's
Right
23
now.
minutes long. Lube Woods, yep.
Remind me after stream to tell y'all a joke I was going to say, but I can't say it on stream.
Uh-oh. What about some EXE? 18 minutes? Yo, Jade,
It did take us a little bit.
Never mind, I guess. We can't read shit.
Oh my god.
That is so fucking loud. Jesus
That's
Christ.
music to my ears. That's
Huh?
music to my ears.
What about...
What a bugger.
We can't do Tiki. I don't think Tiki Toby is short enough. Yeah,
Bang.
none of these are short enough. Ow! Karma
Ah.
doesn't get a bonk.
Huh?
Vapor, why would you bonk us? I almost said me, but I forget that Jade also got bonked.
I did.
The Ray Creepypasta?
kinda halfway.
Smile Dog Creepypasta, maybe?
Oh my god, I forgot to
12
smile on
minutes.
this thing.
Ah! Poppy! Thank you for the one viddy. Holy crap! Junie looking
Hi,
like a
Poppy.
Funko Pop, and then we have an upgraded Jade. Hey. I mean, Funko Pops are kind of ugly, but I make it work, okay? I make it work. Thank you for the viddy. Holy shit. Thank you so much. Nom 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 nom. We're beating Creepypasta, but I can't find a good Creepypasta because Jade's gotta leave because she hates me.
No, that.
Kill me.
Kill me. Ow. I want to die. Okay.
Because I have work and I have to go shower.
Wah, wah. Ah! Ah! Oh my god, thank you for the
Goddamn.
25 bits. What the fuck? Here's 25 for Jade because her hair caught my eye. I don't know what booba is. Real. Jade don't get bits. So these are mine now. Fuck you. I'm just playing. Oh, thank you for the head pad vapor.
Thanks.
Wow.
Smile. What? What did I do?
Not Jade. Jade. Fuck, I can't speak. Junie was gonna. Yep.
What?
Looking at the stream.
What?
What?
She turned to look at you.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. It must have been the wind.
Must have been the wind. Must have been the wind. Okay, well, can I use a sledgehammer on that Hello Kitty next to Junie? You're talking
Bruh.
about Dear Daniel. That's Dear Daniel, you fake
Ow.
Sanrio fan. I'm just playing. I mean, I guess you can here.
Bro.
Here, I'll do it for you. Poppy. Alright, time to use the hammer.
The metal pipe.
There you go. Get bonked.
Bang.
Okay. Ben. Ben.
Man.
Alright, so we can read... Not you, Jay, because you gotta go shower in a second. You bonked Jay too? Yeah. She's a victim too.
Yeah.
We could read Smile Dog. We could read Tiki Toby. We can read Abandoned by Disney. We could read Jeff the Killer. We could read Jane the Killer. I'm not reading Been Drowned.
Why not?
Because that'll take too long. And it's
Not
not
true.
really like a story. It's just like a bunch of 4chan posts. And I'm not trying to find like a cohesive thing. So what sounds good, gang? Well, I guess I get to pick because I didn't get to pick. Why are you looking at me like that, bro? That's what I thought.
Me?
Look away. Look away.
Huh?
Look away, bro.
Jade.
Get the fuck away from me.
What do you mean?
She's on me. Help! She's on top of me. Wow, no one says anything. That's crazy. So now I'm weird. Wow.
What?
Okay, we're gonna read Tiki Toby.
Are y'all reading it?
Yeah. Unless you want us to read something else when you get back, or like we'll read something in the
I
meantime.
mean, it's fine. But do you want me to just leave my model here?
If you want to, just like go to sleep or
Okay,
something.
I'll like. All right, I will be back, guys.
All right, Jade's stinky and has to go take a shower.
I go night night.
Okay, go night night. She didn't even rest her head on me. That's crazy, bro. Anyway. My name's Squidward and I have to kill myself.
In a video game.
In a video game. That's right. Is there any dialogue in this? Oh, there's a little bit of dialogue. Okay. So, Karma, you can read the dialogue and then I'll read the story.
Okay.
Alright. Oh, shit! Oh, shit. I can't even scroll up. Help! Alright, team. So, we are reading Tiki Toby. Without Jay, because she hates me. I'm just playing. Alright. Holy shit. It'll probably be by the time... When we get finished, she'll probably be back. Okay, here we go. The long road home seemed to go on and on. The road continued to stretch in front of the vehicle endlessly. The light that shone through the branches of the tall green trees danced across the window in random patterns, and every once in a while, obnoxiously shining in your eyes. The surroundings were full of deep green trees, forming a forest around the road. The only sound was the sound of the car's engines as it traveled down the path. It was peaceful and left a serene feeling. Although the ride seemed like a nice one, it lacked every form of nice from its two passengers. The middle-aged woman behind the steering wheel had neat brown short hair that fit her complexion quite well. She wore a green V-neck t-shirt and a pair of blue jeans. Diamond stud earrings decorated each of her ears, which partially showed from behind her haircut. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry, guys. She had deep green eyes, which her shirt brought out, and the lighting seemed to make them more noticeable. There wasn't anything significant about her appearance. She looked like any other average mother you would see on TV shows and the like. However, the one thing that made her different than the average mother was the dark bag she had under her eyes. Her facial expression was gloomy and sad, although she genuinely looked like someone who smiled a lot. Advertisements. She would sniffle every once in a while and occasionally glance in the rearview mirror to look at her son in the back seat, who was hunched over partially, with his arms held tight around his chest as his head pressed against the cold window. The boy lacked any normal appearance, and anyone could plainly see there was something wrong with him. His messy brown hair went every which way, and the luminescent light brought out his pale, almost gray skin. His eyes were dark, unlike his mother's, and he wore a white t-shirt and scrub pants that had been provided for him by the hospital. The clothes he had worn before were so shredded and bloodstained that they weren't wearable anymore. The right side of his face bared a few cuts along the split eyebrow. his right arm was bandaged all the way to the shoulder, which had been shredded with his right side hit the shattered glass. His injuries appeared to be painful, when in reality he couldn't feel anything. This was just one of the glories of being him. One of the challenges he had to face when growing up was growing up with a rare disease that caused him to be completely numb towards pain. Never before had he felt himself get hurt. He could have lost an arm and feel nothing. The other major disorder he had faced, which was the one that deemed him many insulting nicknames in the short time he attended grade school before he switched to homeschooling, was his Tourette's syndrome, which caused him to tick and twitch in ways he couldn't control. He would crack his neck uncontrollably and twitch every once in a while. The kids would tease him and call him Ticky Toby, and they mocked him with exaggerated twitching and laughing. It got so bad that he had to turn to homeschooling. It was so hard for him to be in common learning environment with seemingly every kid poking, more like stabbing, fun at him. Toby stared blankly out the window, his face empty of any emotion, and every few minutes his shoulder, arm, or foot would twitch. Every bump that the car tires hit would make his stomach turn. Toby Rogers was the boy's name, and the last time Toby remembered riding in a car was when it crashed. That's all he thought about, unconsciously replaying everything he remembered before he blacked out, over and over again. Toby had been the lucky one. His sister would not have been so lucky. When the thought of his sister came, he couldn't help the tears that welled in his eyes. The horrible memories replayed in his mind. Her screaming had cut off when the front of the car was smashed in. It went all blank for a moment before Toby opened his eyes to see his sister's body, her forehead pierced with glass shards, her hips and legs crushed under the force of the steering wheel. Oh my god. And her torso pushed in from the too late inflated airbag. That was the last thing he had seen of his dear old sister. The road home continued for what seemed like forever. It took so long to get home because his mom wanted to avoid the sight of the crash. When the surroundings gave way to a familiar neighborhood, they were both more than ready to get out of the car and step back into their own home. It was an older neighborhood with quaint little houses all next to each other. The car drove in front of a blue house with white window panes. They both quickly noticed the old vehicle that had parked in front of the house and the familiar figure that stood in the driveway. Toby felt automatic anger and frustration take over him at the sight of his father who wasn't there. His mother pulled the car up to the driveway beside him before turning off the engine and preparing to step out and face her husband.
Why is he here?
Toby said quietly as he looked back at his mother, who reached to open the car door.
He's your father, Toby. He's here because he wants to see you.
His mother responded in a monotone voice, trying to sound less shaky.
Yet couldn't drive up to the hospital to see Lyra before she died?
Toby narrowed his eyes out of the window.
He was drunk that night, honey. He couldn't drive. Yeah, when he is not.
Toby pushed the door open before his mother and stumbled into the driveway where he met his father's gaze before looking down at his feet with a stern expression. His mother stepped out behind him and met her husband's eyes before walking around the car. His father opened his arms, expecting a hug from his wife, and when she walked past him and put her arms around Toby's shoulder and started leading him inside.
Connie.
Her husband began in a raspy voice.
Well, no welcome home hug? Huh? Where my hug at?
Where my hug at? She ignored her husband's obnoxious words and walked past him with her son under her arm.
Hey, he's 16. He can walk by himself.
His father began to follow them in.
He's 17.
Connie glared back at him before opening the door to the house and stepping inside.
Toby, why don't we get you in your room to rest, okay? I'll come get you when dinner is ready. No, I'm 16. I can walk by myself.
Toby said sarcastically and glanced back at his father before stumbling up the small staircase and turning into his room, where he slammed the door violently. His little room didn't have much in it, just a small bed, a dresser, a window, and his walls had few picture frames of his family, back when they were a family, before his father became an alcoholic and acted violently towards the rest of his family. Toby remembered when he was arguing with his mom and he had grabbed her by her hair and shoved her to the floor. When Lyra had tried to break it up, he pushed her and hit her back on the corner of the kitchen counter. Toby could never forgive him for what he had did to his mother and sister. Never. Toby didn't care much about his father. Toby didn't care how much his father beat him down. He couldn't feel it anyway. What he did care about was how he intentionally hurt the only two people he cared about. And when he was waiting in the hospital where his sister took her last breaths, the only one who didn't rush there was his dad. Toby stood by the window and looked out at the street. He could have sworn he saw something out of the corner of his eye, but quickly blamed it on the meds he was on. When dinner time had come and his mother called up to him, at the table across... Oh, Toby sat down... oh my god, holy fuck! When dinner time had come and his mother called up to him, Toby came down the stairs and hesitantly sat down at the table across from his father, and in between his mother and an empty chair. It was quiet as his parents picked up their food, but Toby refused to eat. Instead, he just waited for his dad he watched his dad with a blank expression. His mother caught onto the staring and elbowed him slightly. I need to stop reading. Toby looked over at her slightly and then down at his uneaten food, which he still didn't touch. Toby lied in B. He pulled his covers over his head and stared at the window. He was tired, but there was no way he would fall asleep. He couldn't. There was too much to think about. He had been debating on whether or not to follow his mother's directions and forgiving his father, or continue to hold a grudge with his boiling hatred.
I hate you 2000.
He heard the door creak open and his mother padded into the room and sat on the bed next to him. She reached over and rubbed his back, which had been turned to her.
I know it's hard, Toby. Trust me. I understand. But I promise you it will get better.
She said softly.
When is she going to leave?
Toby said with an innocent tone in his shaky voice. Connie let her gaze fall down to her feet.
I don't know, honey. He's staying as far as we know.
She replied. Toby didn't respond. He just continued to look forward at the wall, holding his damaged arm near her chest. After a few minutes of silence, his mother sighed before leaning in to kiss his cheek and stood up to walk out of the room.
1 second. Good night.
She said as she closed the door. The hours passed slowly, and Toby couldn't quit tossing and turning. Every time he let his imagination take over, he heard the screaming of tires, the screeching of tires, the screaming of his sister, and he would uncontrollably jerk in bed. He threw off his cover, and lying on his back, he pulled the pillow over his face and cried into it. He could hear his own pitiful weeping. Wah. He would have been screaming and crying if he didn't press his pillow over his face. After a few seconds, he threw the pillow off his face and sat up, hunched over, holding his head and breathing roughly, tears streaming from his eyes. He couldn't help but cry. He tried to keep it in, but he couldn't stop the whining and whimpering as he sat there shaking. He inhaled before he stood up and walked around his bed to the window and peered out, taking deep breaths, trying to calm down. He rubbed his eyes and looked out at the group of tall pine trees across the street. He stopped suddenly, and his gaze slowly centered on something standing under the streetlight. He heard ringing in his ears and couldn't look away. The figure stood beside the streetlight, about 2 feet shorter than it did, long arms draped at its sides as it stared up at him with non-existing eyes. The figure had no facial features to speak of. No eyes, no mouth, no nose, yet it held Toby's hypnotized stare, seemingly peering into his very being. The ringing in his ears grew louder and louder each second he stared before it suddenly went all black. The next morning, Toby woke in his bed. He felt different. He wasn't tired at all, and when he consciously woke up, it felt like he had been lying there awake for hours. He had no thoughts flowing through his mind. He sat up slowly and stumbled over the wall, but when he stood, he automatically felt dizzy. He stumbled to the doorway and walked down the stairs. His parents were sitting at the table. His father was tuned in to the small TV that sat on the countertop, and his mother was reading the newspaper. She quickly looked over when she saw Toby's presence looming behind her.
Well, good morning, sleepyhead. You've been sleeping forever.
She greeted him with a hesitant smile. Toby slowly looked over the clock and noticed that it was 12:30 p.m.
I've made you breakfast, but it got cold. I was going to wake you, but you felt you needed to sleep.
Her expression fell from happy to worried as her son resisted responding to her.
Are you all right?
Toby stumbled over and sat by his father. He felt as if he was on idle and had no control over his actions. He was seeing everything he did, but it didn't register in his brain properly. He reached out to his father's arm, but his hand ended up getting slapped. His father turned to him abruptly and pushed his chair over with his foot.
Wit.
Wit.
Don't touch me, boy.
He yelled.
Boy.
Boy. His mother stood up.
All right. Know that off.
Oh my god,
That is the
help!
last thing we need.
The days went by and things continued on as they were. Connie spent most of her time cleaning the house, and her rude husband spent most of his time ordering her around. It was just like how it used to be before the crash. Toby never really left his room. He would sit by his bed and tremble. His mind would wander, but his thoughts changed too fast to be remembered. He would pace around his small room like a caged animal, a stare out the window. Excuse me. The unhealthy cycle continued. Connie continued to be pushed around by her husband, being way too submissive to him, and Toby remained in his room. Before you could think twice, he would begin to chew on his own hands, tearing the flesh from his fingers. He would gnaw his hands until they bled. When his mother walked in on him while he was doing so, she reacted horribly. She rushed him downstairs and grabbed the first aid kit, wrapping his hands in bandages. Afterwards, she demanded that he wouldn't leave her side again. Toby isolated himself so much that he grew to hate being around others. His memory grew glitchy as well. He started missing memory of minutes, hours, days, and so on. He would begin talking nonsense about things completely unrelated to the conversations he would have. He would go off about seeing things, sharks in the sink as he washed the dishes, hearing crickets in his pillows, and seeing ghosts outside his bedroom window. His mother grew anxious about his mental health, that she had decided it would be good for him to talk to a professional about what he was feeling. Connie walked Toby to the building, holding his hand and guiding him. She walked him up to the front desk and began talking to the lady who sat behind it.
Miss Rogers?
The lady asked.
Yes, that's me.
Connie nodded.
We're here to see Dr. Olive. I'm here with Toby Rogers.
It's
Fuck,
Oliver.
My bad.
Oh, did you? Oh.
Yes, right this way.
The lady stood and led them down a long hallway. Toby looked at the framed artwork down the halls and turned in to the sound of the lady's high heels on the hardwood floor. She opened the door to a room with a table and 2 chairs.
If we can get him to sit in here for a few minutes, I'll get the doctor.
She smiled and held the door open. Toby stumbled into the room and sat down at the table. He looked over at his mother and the lady... Oh my fucking god, help! He looked over at his mother and the lady before the door slowly shut behind them. He looked around the room before he held up his tightly bandaged hands and began to bite at the bandages to unwrap his hands. But he was interrupted as the door swung open and a young woman in a black and white spotted dress with light blonde hair stepped in, holding a clipboard and a pen.
Toby? McWhite?
She asked with a smile. Toby looked up at her and nodded.
Nice to meet you, Toby. My name is Dr. Oliver.
She put her hand out for him to shake, but he hesitantly pulled away when she noticed his bandaged hand.
Oh.
She smiled nervously before clearing her throat and sitting in the chair across the table from him. My god.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Try to answer them as honestly as possible, okay?
She placed her clipboard down on the table. Toby nodded slowly and held his restrained hands in his lap.
How old are you, Toby? 17.
He responded quietly. She wrote that down on paper that was clipped to the clipboard.
What is your full name? Toby Aaron Rogers. When is your birthday? April 28th.
Oh my god.
Who's your immediate family?
Toby paused for a minute before answering her question.
My mom, my dad, and...
He stopped.
My sister. I heard about your dear sister, dear. I'm really sorry.
Her expression faded into a sad, pity-filled look. Toby nodded.
Do you remember anything from the crash, Toby?
Bruh. Toby looked away from her. His mind went blank for a moment. He looked down at his lap, and in the surrounding area, he heard a faint ringing sound. His eyes widened, and he froze in place.
Toby?
The counselor asked.
Are you listening?
Toby felt a shiver go down his spine until he froze once again and slowly looked out the little window through the door, where he saw it. A dark, featureless figure peering in at him. He stared, eyes widening, the ringing growing louder and louder until suddenly the loud voice of the counselor broke his trance.
Toby!
She yelled. Toby jumped and fell sideways out of the chair and backed into the corner. Dr. Oliver stood up, holding her clipboard to her chest, a surprised look in her eyes. Toby met her eyes again, his breath hitching as he twitched. That night, Toby lay in bed. His eyes were dazed as he stared straight up at the ceiling. He could feel himself begin to doze off when he heard the scattering of footsteps down the hallway. He sat up and looked towards the doorway, his door wide open. There was no light. Everything was lit by the luminescent blue glow of the moon through his window, leaving a cold lighting. He stood up and slowly made his way towards the doorway when suddenly the door, which was previously wide open, slammed in his face. He gasped and fell back. He was out of breath when he hit the ground and he began to... Oh my fucking god. I actually need to start. After this, I gotta end stream because my eyes are just like, oh. He was out of breath. When he hit the ground, he began breathing heavily, his eyes wide open. He waited for a few seconds before getting back on his feet. He reached out and grasped the cold door handle with his bandaged hand, and it creaked open. He looked into the dark hallway and tiptoed out of his room. The window at the end of the hallway lit up the darkness with the blue moonlight as he patted his way down. He could hear footsteps rustling around him, and faint giggling followed by the patter of small feet. A pitter-patter. Which sounded like a child had run in front of him, giggling and running around. The hallway was a lot longer as that he remembered. Oh my god, hello? I was like, my model was like tweaking out. The hallway was a lot longer than he remembered. It seemed endless, like a ride home from the hospital. He heard the door creak in front of him.
Mom?
He called in a shaky voice. Suddenly, a door slammed behind him, and he jumped and turned around. Behind him, he heard a long, eerie groan that sounded like a croak right in his ear. He turned around as fast as he could and was suddenly face to face with none other than his dead sister. Her eyes were clouded white, her skin pale, the right side of her jaw dangling there by tissue and muscle, glass protruding from her forehead, black blood leaking down her face, her blonde hair pulled up in a ponytail, as it always was, and she was wearing her gray t-shirt and athletic shorts, which were dirty and spotted with blood. Her legs were bent in ways they shouldn't be. She stood emanating a long, creaking noise only an inch away from Toby's face. Toby yelped and fell back. Toby!
Is it not picking it up?
No.
Ah.
There you go. Thank you. He started to crawl backwards away from her, but he was unable to break the eye contact he held with her blank, dead eyes. He dragged himself backward until he backed up into something. He stopped for a second. Everything was dead silent except for his heavy breathing and crying. He slowly looked up to meet the blank face of a tall, dark figure, the same figure that stood over him now. Behind the tall, dark mask were rows of children looking to range from 3 to 10 years old, their eyes completely black, and dark black blood leaked from their eye sockets. He screamed and stood up as fast as he could, only to be tripped by dark black tendrils that wrapped around his ankle. He fell straight on his stomach and got the wind knocked out of him. He tried to scream, but he couldn't make a sound. He wheezed out before it all went black. Toby woke with a start. He screamed out and sat up as fast as he could, completely short of breath. He wheezed out and held his chest with his bandaged hands. It was just a dream. Just a dream. He lay back down on his bed and rolled over on his side. It felt like against weight. What the fuck? It felt like against weight and had been lifted off his chest as he took deep breaths. He stood up and padded over to his window. He saw nothing. Nobody was out there. No ghosts, no figures, nothing. He heard rustling and coughing of his father outside the doorway. His door was closed. He walked over and opened it. Looking out to the hallway once again, he padded down the hallway and into the kitchen where he found his dad standing and having a smoke in the living room. Toby waited for a second and watched him from around the corner before a burning feeling started deep in his chest. Deep boiling anger took over him. He heard the little imaginary voices in his head.
Do it, do it, do it.
They chanted. He turned away and held his arms. He felt like he actually had control over himself, unlike he did for the past few weeks since he got home from the hospital. He actually had complete thoughts just for moments before the chanting of the little voices in his head clouded them.
Kill him. What the? Kill him. He wasn't there. Kill him. He wasn't there. Kill him. Kill him.
They continued on. Toby trembled. No, he wasn't gonna do it. What? Was he going crazy? No, he won't kill anyone. He can't. He hated his father, but there was no way he was going to kill him. That was it. The last thought he had before he fell into an idle state once again. The influence of the voices in his head was too much. He began to silently walk over behind his father. He reached over the counter to the knife in the case. He gripped it in his hand. He felt the sensation take over his chest. He let out a snicker. Oh my god, the mic fucking got out. He began laughing so hard that he had to gasp for breath. His father turned around abruptly before he felt a brute force shove him to the floor. He grunted as the air was knocked out of him.
What?
He looked up at the boy who stood over him, grasping the kitchen knife in his hand.
Toby, what are you doing?
He went to sit up and put his arms out in front of him in self-defense. Before he knew it, Toby was on top of him. He went to grab his neck, but his father reached out and blocked his hand by grabbing onto his wrist.
Stop. Get off me, boy. You little fucker.
He yelled. With his other hand, he threw an off-center punch towards Toby's shoulder, but he didn't stop. The look of Toby's eyes were not sane. It looked as if a demon had taken control of him. He yelled back and went to stab the knife into his father's chest, but his father blocked him and grabbed onto his wrist once again. He went shove him back, but Toby kicked his feet out in front of him and landed a hard blow straight to his father's face. His father recoiled and pulled his arms away to cuff his face, but Toby got back up and drove the knife straight into his shoulder. His father let out a cry and went to pull the knife out, but before he could, Toby threw his fist straight into his face. He began to pound his fist into his head, laughing and wheezing. He cracked his neck and grabbed the knife and ripped it out of his father's shoulder. He drove it deep into his dad's chest repeatedly, stabbed into the torso, blood spilling out and getting splattered everywhere. He didn't stop until his father's body went still. He threw the knife over to the side and leaned over his body, coughing and panting. He stared at his father's smashed-in face as he sat there twitching until a loud scream broke his silence. He looked over to see his mother standing a few feet away, covering her mouth, tears streaming down her face.
Toby!
She screamed.
Why did you do that?
She cried.
Why?
She screamed. Toby stood up and began to back away from his father's bloodied corpse. He began to back out of the kitchen. He looked down at the blood-soaked bandage on his hands and looked up at his mother one last time before he turned and ran out of the house. He ran into the garage and slammed his hand against the control panel of the wall and pushed the button to open the garage door. Before he ran out, he noticed his father's hatchet, which had been hanging on the tool rack above a table full of jars filled with the brim with old rusted nails and screws. One of the hatchets was new. It had a bright orange handle and a shiny blade. The other was old with a wooden handle and an old dull blade. He grabbed both and looked down at the table he had... What the fuck? He grabbed both and looked down at the table and he saw a box of matches. Under the table was a red gasoline tank. He held both of the hatchets in one hand and grabbed the matches and gasoline before running out of the garage, down the driveway and up the street. As he approached the street light that he could see out of his bedroom window, he heard police sirens in the distance. He turned around and the red and blue flashing lights came rushing down the street. Toby stood for a second before he pulled open the cap of the gasoline tank and ran down the street, spilling gasoline all over the street after him. He turned and ran into the trees. He poured the last bit of gasoline out as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a match. He struck it against the box and immediately dropped it. In an instant, flames burst around him. The fire caught on the trees and bushes around him, and before he knew it, he was surrounded by fire. The silhouette of police cars were visible through the flames as he backed away into the forest around him. He looked around, but his vision was blurred. His heart was pounding, and he closed his eyes for a moment. This was it. This was his hand. Toby felt a hand on his shoulder. He opened his eyes and looked over to see a large white hand with long bony fingers resting on his shoulder. He followed the arm that was attached to the hand up to a dark, towering figure. It appeared to be wearing a dark black suit, and his face was completely blank. It towered over Toby's small frame as it looked down on him. Tendrils reached out from his back. Before Toby knew it, his vision blurred and he heard the sound of ringing in his ears. Everything went back. This was it. This was the end. This is how Toby Rogers died. A few weeks later, Connie sat in her sister's kitchen. His sister, Lori, sat next to her drinking a cup of coffee. About 3 weeks ago, Connie lost her husband and her son, and a few weeks before she had lost her daughter in a car crash. Since then, she moved in with her sister. The police were keeping her busy as they had just finished cleaning up the case, and the story had been released 2 weeks ago. The focus of the world seemed to have shifted to completely new stories. Lori switched the TV onto a news broadcast. On the TV, the news reporter began introducing the new headline.
We have breaking news! Last night there have been reported the murder of 4 individuals. There are no suspects yet, but the victims were a group of middle school kids who have been out in the woods last night, late at night. The kids have been
Bludgeoned.
blood-gowned and stabbed to death. The investigators have discovered a weapon at the crime scene. It appears to be an old, dull blade hatchet, as you can see here. Hit the gritty.
Oh, the picture changed to show snapshots of the weapon exactly as it was left at the crime scene.
Investigators have pulled the name of a possible suspect, Toby Rogers, a 17-year-old boy who stabbed his father to death a few weeks ago and tried to cover it up, his escape up by setting a fire in the streets and forest area around the neighborhood. Although they believe the young boy had died in the fire, investigators suspect Rogers might still be alive. Due to the fact that his body was never found.
Dun dun
Fuck this goddamn reporter.
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh. So what do we think?
Not bad.
Yeah?
I thought it was a 4 out of 10.
A 4 out of 10?
Not bad, but not great either. I wish there was more dialogue.
You're like, so I could read more.
No.
Just kidding. Actually rereading the story because I haven't read it in a very long time. I think this was pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I would give this, like, it's definitely not a 9 out of 10 from creepypasta.com. I would say this is like a 6 out of 10. Like, I think the premise is there. And I don't know, excuse me, I'll be honest. I think the premise is there. I think it's pretty good. But I still think that there could have been, like, a lot more to it. Like, I wish there was a little bit more influence of, like, Slender Man. Because that's who the tall, dark figure was, obviously. It was Slender Man.
Yeah.
But this was the story that kind of pioneered the idea of proxies, like, into the mainstream of creepypasta, believe it or not. And Castaway, who's the author, drew a lot of fan art of, obviously, of his character Toby, but also of, like, Masky and Hoodie, and that's kind of where, like, the misconception came in of Masky and Hoodie being, like, proxies to Slender Man, despite the fact that in their story, Marble Hornets, that was never the case. So, but I think this is a good story.
I like the story. I like the story. Actually, I changed it to a 5, not 4.
Yeah.
I do like the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wish there was a little bit more dialogue. Then my rating would be a lot higher.
Yeah, I wish there was.
Because it had decent dialogue.
Yeah. Oh God. Ew.
Bless you.
Ew.
Bless you.
Oh my God. Ew.
Bless you.
Ew. God damn.
Curse you. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
God, help.
Hell.
Oh. I was trying to see, like, all this Slender Man shit. Oh, there's a creepypasta story. What the fuck? Historical references of Slender Man? What the fuck? The Slender
me, bro.
Man
I'm that tall.
movie. Good story, gave me chills. Real. Okay, well, that's gonna be it for me. Because I need to stop reading because my eyes hurt. And I'm tired. And I kind of want to get off for a bit. Okay, anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Shout out to Poppy for the 26 bits. Holy shit, thank you so much. Shout out to Karma. Shout out to Jade for reading this with me. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. Thank you guys for entertaining me. I definitely want to do more creepypasta content. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys soon. See you guys next time. Bye. 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 I would fuck the shit out of Laughing Jack. Bye.